this one. Now time to take you through the starting grid for Heat 7 X30 Senior B versus F. It's Clément Outron and Sam van der Heyden on the front row. Victor Louis and Clément Massot on row 2. Charlie Gloom and Alexandre Mercier rounding out row 3. Robbie Buckley and Milan Marzac round out row 4. Completing the top 10, Arthur Huang and C.J. Bennett. Dylan DeVos and Keanu Vellens on row 6. Tess Forshaw, Roberto Bus, row 7. Row 8, Jules Van Hoel and Thibaut Weijers. Row 9, Angelo Melis and Casper Norman. Rounding out the top 20, Mathis Renet and Tom Schultz. Completing the 27-strong grid will be the following drivers. Zachary Geunen, Kaz Oudhaus, Raphaël Boulard, Maxime Prudent, Florent Dirda, Roman Krupianko and Patrice Kowalski. Kowalski has made the most overtakes so far in his respective heats this weekend. I think it's probably close to 30 plus so far. And yes, not having the greatest qualifying, 3 laps, and you don't get up the sharp end of the grid. But it is going to be more the case of, you were just about to say.
Picking up on what you just mentioned with Patrice Kowalski, unfortunately, even though he turned out to be the master of remontada in his last qualifying heat with 17 places gained, I was just double-checking the result, and he picked up a 10-second penalty, unfortunately, at the end, which means that it would only be classified 21st. Of his previous qualifying race, so which means that all those efforts were unfortunately put back into the bin, and it's down to 0 again for Patrice Kowalski for another remontada to round things up for the day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like ripping up the A4 sheet of paper that you've just been hurriedly scribbling on and throwing it straight in the bin. But in terms of on-track performance, he has done, I think, the most overtakes by one particular individual so far this weekend, as we have this and 2 more heats to go, so we'll be 9 races in for this weekend. And in total, there will be a total of 15 qualifying heats for Senior X30, 6 for the Junior X30 division. So in other words, 21 races in terms of qualifying heats. Then we have the 4 respective finals, Final A and Final B for both of the classes. So it is down to Outron and van der Heyden on the front row of the grid. They will control the rolling start as we are gearing up and getting back underway here at just past 10 past 5 this afternoon, as into the tram lines we go to resume the racing action. Revs up, lights on, lights are out. We're underway underneath a plume of smoke on the start-finish straight. And it is the run down to turn 1, but a big moment there. Someone's lost that is a Nassau panel that has gone exit skywards.
And Clément Massot as well, je pense, a été impliqué là-dedans. Accrochage d'entrée de jeu, mon cher Alex, dans cette épreuve. Clément Massot, je pense, en difficulté là-bas. On va attendre de savoir s'il s'agit bien de lui, mais je pense, en tout cas, je l'ai vu à châssis des cartes, dont le museau est allé jouer la poudre d'escampette.
Quelque chose de la carte est jeté dans l'air.
Oui, absolument. Ben voilà, un petit contact d'entrée de jeu. On n'avait pas encore vu ça directement dans les premiers virages, même si les 3 goulets, évidemment, des premières courbes ici à Genk est toujours un petit peu, surtout au moment du départ, quand on s'y jette à 36 de front en quelque sorte, ça passe ou ça casse généralement. Et ça s'est cassé malheureusement dans le cas de Clément Massot. Je pense s'il s'agit bien de lui, je pense que c'est le cas, où son museau est allé... Et un deuxième pilote là-bas qui malheureusement s'est rangé sur le bas-côté. Donc Massot va devoir rentrer au box, puisque dans cette position, il est impossible de continuer dans les limites du règlement.
Yeah, just seeing something on the digi flag showing up about 249, which is Roman Krupianko as the battle at the front end of the field. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so that is he's a very, very lucky individual, is Clément Massot. I mean, that is as exposed as you can be. You can see the steering column, and that's about it. And there's nothing else covering the top part of the driver. That is the only protection you have on the top of these cars. But Victor Louis has now been passed by Clément Outron. That is, now, who is that behind? I'm wondering if that might be possibly, I'm wondering if it might be the 310. That's Robbie Buckley from Ireland on the Croc promotion. I think he's P3 at the moment. We come across the line to complete lap number 2. And look at the front train. It's Outron, Gloom, Buckley, Dinan de Vos and Tess for sure from KCR Racing is giving those in front something to think about. I think there was a mistake there through turn 3 by Buckley, and de Vos and Verschoor are through.
Et voilà, on est reparti donc, on se reconcentre sur l'activité en piste avec un peu moins de 8 minutes et un tour. Et la bataille qui fait rage d'entrée de jeu, comme on pouvait s'y attendre. Clément Outran avec Charlie Glum en deuxième position. Comme vous l'avez dit, Robbie Buckley, l'Irlandais en troisième place, secoué un petit peu par Dinan de Vos, Tess Verschoor. Dans le reste du classement, nous avons Victor Louis, Arthur Wang, Sam van der Heyden, Alexandre Mercier et Milan Marzak qui bouclent donc ce top 10 dans les premiers instants, les premiers éléments, les premiers tours de cette épreuve. La dernière course en ce qui concerne les deux groupes évidemment et les pilotes en piste de la journée. Et Arthur Wang un petit peu chahuté malheureusement là-bas à l'approche du dernier virage. Vous allez voir repasser d'ici un instant. En tête, on fait le point sur les écarts. Un peu plus de 2 dixièmes entre Clément Outran et Charlie Glum. Avec Dinan de Vos, Tess Verschoor, Robbie Buckley. Des écarts qui grandissent, mais pour l'instant, un ordre relativement inchangé. Les 4 premiers qui prennent la poudre d'escampette par rapport au deuxième train de pilote. Ils sont 5. Vous les voyez à l'image là-bas dans les temps du virage numéro 5. Grosse bagarre également. Oui, attention à la touchette là-bas avec le numéro 250, si j'ai bien vu. Je pense que c'est s'agissait d'Alexandre Mercier, le 290 depuis la 9e place qui a tenté de se glisser sur la droite de son adversaire. Peut-être Milan Marzak sur le coup, ça s'est passé très très rapidement, mais il semble y avoir eu, à moins qu'il s'agissait d'une illusion d'optique dans le soleil baissant, une petite touchette entre ces deux-là. On y reviendra. Alors que pendant ce temps-là, eh bien, les leaders continuent de s'observer à 6 minutes et un tour du terme.
Yeah, along with that, we've not only lost Clément Massor, but Mathis Renette and Zachary Gernon are also out on the opening lap. Gernon didn't even make it to the first timing beam, as Tess Verschoor up the inside of Dinan de Vos. Great move there from the racer from KCR, and now makes it through on the 253. So that is a change between the Dutch driver and the Belgian for third place. Trying to close in on Clément Outran, who is looking for his second win in terms of qualifying heats so far this weekend here at round 3 of the 2025 season. And we're 40 seconds away from half-time in terms of the timer counting down from 10 minutes to 0, and then that all-important additional lap. But then you look a little bit further back, Victor Louis running a little bit Billy No-Mace in 5th position, and Sam van der Heyden running 6th. Tess Verschoor, fastest out of anybody out on circuit, and has put in a 55.995 on lap 4. Currently runs P3. Gap between Tess Verschoor and Dinan de Vos, Charlie Glum is about 5.5 tenths of a second. But look at this carambolage coming up here. At the back of it was the 287 of Milan Marzak. And yeah, there's quite a few other drivers. Raphaël Boulard has made up 11 places, currently running P12. Maxime Prudent up from 24th, now runs 14th. So there are juxtapositions to be had. And Angela Mélie getting stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment, going down the Europalan into turn 6.
Oui, Angela Mélie là-bas depuis la 9e place qui se battait avec Robbie Buckley, le pilote irlandais qui a perdu quelques plumes depuis maintenant une poignée de tours. Il était bien à se battre dans le top 4. Le voilà qui est seulement 8e sous la pression d'Angela Mélie au volant de son châssis TB4 du team Rave Racing. Il passe devant notre position justement le numéro 310, Robbie Buckley. Et au moment où je le mentionne, eh bien, ça passe à la corde pour Mélie sur Buckley, qui va aller chercher la 8e place, alors que les minutes s'égrènent. On fera le point sur les écarts de nouveau. 6 dixièmes entre Clément Outran et Charlie Glum. Mais regardez à tous les étages du peloton. Ça, c'est une superbe vue aérienne, en tout cas depuis notre drone de production ici, qui nous permet vraiment de mieux appréhender les trajectoires des uns et des autres, et de voir à quel moment, dans les derniers instants du point de freinage, certains parviennent à aller chercher des positions dans cette première épingle du virage numéro 1. Notamment là, des pilotes au volant de son châssis CRG là-bas, plus loin dans le peloton. Et en parlant de peloton, bien regardez l'écart qui grandit entre Clément Outran et Charlie Glum à l'extérieur du virage du numéro 9 là-bas. Ils sont 4 dans la même image à eh bien, donner la chasse autant que faire se peut aux pilotes français, avec dans l'ordre Charlie Glum, Tess Verschoor, Dinan de Vos et Victor Louis qui se mêlent à la lutte désormais.
Yeah, there's that peloton at the back end of the field. It looks like the Tour de France has invaded karting Genk all of a sudden, because some of them are line astern, some are squabbling 2 by 2 like Noah's Ark style, trying to get on the boat in time. But it is the case that there is such clean racing going on. This is the point, this is the halfway point now of the competition, reference the qualifying heats. This is where drivers that have had a bit of drama, I mean, let's not forget, Alessandro Tudisca didn't have a great first heat. He didn't start it. and then comes back, starts 12th, finishes P5 on the road in his second heat. So there's drivers like Tudiska that have got to be very, very careful. They know how the system works. As Dylan DeVos throws it up the inside of Tess for sure, who runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 10. And there goes Victor Louis up the inside, and in he gets 2 for the price of 1. Dylan DeVos has to use the runoff area. And Sam van der Hayden comes back into play on the Simon Hout Racing team entry. He's the only one from that team here. Oh, and that is not what you want coming out of turn number 13.
Dylan DeVos.
And then it's Dylan DeVos and Tess for sure.
Oui, et voilà. Gros accrochage, drapeau jaune très logiquement. Gros accrochage, vous l'avez vécu en direct, chers amis, dans l'extérieur du dernier virage.
And I'm seeing that Tess for sure is actually in a little bit of discomfort. So she is not moving out of the cart at the moment. Dylan DeVos has got out under his own power. But that was a bit of a roller coaster ride for both drivers. But I think Tess is just trying to get out of the cart and is finding it difficult to do so. So the main thing is the team are on site. Tess is getting out of the cart. That is a good thing to say. So second time full course yellow procedure or full course slow as we now call it. So that means drivers have to slow significantly. It's effectively the karting equivalent of what we would say is a virtual safety car. So it neutralizes the race. And as we had with the first junior heat of the weekend, which was won by Victory Lane's Louis Béziré, that finished under the same protocol. So the way things are going, the way that the drivers are slowing down, looks like it's going to be the second race that's going to be brought to a conclusion under full course slow, and I think it's probably the right call, because if there's a driver that's injured, you want to make sure that they're safe. But I'm just glad to see that both drivers are okay. Tess is walking away just past the start-finish line here at the circuit. So we are under full course slow for the second time today here on Heat 7 X30 Senior Groups B versus F. But it is the right thing to do. Safety is the main priority. We all know that motorsport is dangerous, but there are procedures in place to circumnavigate things going wrong.
Effectivement, pour la deuxième fois de la journée, donc full course slow, procédure donc sous drapeau jaune afin de ramener tous les pilotes à bon port après cet incident entre Tess Verschoor et Dylan DeVos, bien malheureusement, donc ces deux pilotes contraints à l'abandon. Tess Verschoor, on avait effectivement une petite frayeur par rapport à la manière dont elle allait pouvoir s'extraire de son kart. Petite frayeur après qu'il ait mis un peu de temps, semble-t-il, elle avait eu un contact, je pense que Dylan DeVos, en sortie du dernier virage. En fait, les deux sont arrivés l'un contre l'autre. Dylan DeVos a surmonté en fait le kart de Tess Verschoor, et ceci expliquant sans doute cela, donc un petit peu de difficulté à s'extraire de sa propre machine après sans doute quelques bleus et de la douleur que Tess Verschoor aura sans doute après cet incident, mais on l'a vu donc sur ses deux jambes et s'extraire donc du circuit en toute sécurité avec les officiels, donc ça c'est une bonne nouvelle. Et pour l'instant nous attendons, bien chers amis, le final lap, le dernier tour. Nous allons terminer donc sous la procédure de full course yellow, full course slow. Et effectivement, comme on l'a dit Alex, c'est semble-t-il la meilleure des décisions. La procédure va donc aller jusqu'à son terme, de façon à ce que, mais c'est déjà le cas, bien le circuit soit nettoyé et tous les pilotes bien pris dans l'aventure, dans cet incident, soient ramenés à bon port en toute sécurité, ce qui est déjà le cas au moment où on se parle. Voilà, petite frayeur pour Tess Verschoor, mais plus de peur que de mal, semble-t-il.
Also, CJ Bennett did not get past Sector 2 on the same lap, so it may have been because you might have had a double whammy kind of situation, and I don't mean like two successive incidents, but CJ Bennett did not get past Sector 2, and that would have been coming down from turn 10 into turn 11, so that might have been that when we had the incident with Verschoor and DeVos coming out of the final corner. But it is going to be Clément Outron who is going to pick up his second win of the weekend in the qualifying heat stages under full course slow procedure. Charlie Gloom and, well, get this, Patrice Kowalski makes mincemeat of the opposition, gets to third place on the road. Whether that will stand, that will be dependent on, obviously, all the results being provisional. We have had a 5-second time penalty going to Raphaël Boulard. 5-second time penalty for pushing, so Kowalski takes P3 ahead of Sam van der Hayden. Victor Louis, Angelo Milly up from 17th to finish 6th. ahead of Robbie Buckley. Milan Magzac, Maxime Prudent started 24th, finished in 9th, ahead of Roberto Baz. Casper Norman from Dirda, making up 13 places to finish in 12th position, ahead of Gazward House, Arthur Huang, Keanu Wellens, Jules Van Hul, Thibaut Byers, Alexandre Mercier, Tom Schultz, Roman Krupianko, Raphael Boulard, being the last of the classified finishers. On lap number 7, we lost Tess for sure and Dinan De Vos in that incident. Coming out of the final corner, CJ Bennett we lost before the end of sector 2. Clément Messot, Mathis Renet and Zachary Gernon out on the opening lap of the race, with Clément Messot's front Nassau panel going skyward and exiting the kart. But Clément Outron picks up his second qualifying heat win of the weekend. 2:88 of France, winning by a margin of just under 2.5 tenths of a second as we finish the race under full course slow procedures.